Welcome to SOAP Training Online.com. In today's session, we will start with SOAP UI basics, like how to install SOAP UI and how to work on the first project. Okay, we'll see the basics in this session, right? So first thing, we will see how to install SOAP UI into our machine. Okay, so you have official website for SOAP UI. Just type SOAP UI in the Google search. You will get first link, SOAP UI, home of functional testing. Okay, this is the official site of SOAP UI. So for the downloading tool and any documents if you want to refer or any updates and everything you can find here. So let's go to the site soapui.org. This was the product by Smart Bear guys. Okay, Smart Bear guys have developed this SOAP UI tool. So you can see that their icon here, and this is the official site. So where you find all the information related to SOAP UI here, and here you can find the downloads exe files. So SOAP UI comes in two versions. One is open source and other is pro version. So open source version we call as a normal SOAP UI. This open source version is a freeware. It is it is no license, you can use it unlimited. So whereas there is other version of SOAP UI called SOAP UI Pro. So this is the licensed product. Okay, so these two are same, but this is an extension to the Pro, is an extension to the SOAP UI. Okay, SOAP UI features are subset of SOAP UI Pro features. Okay, you have some additional features to make your testing easy in SOAP UI Pro, a licensed version, but whereas with open source version you will be missing some features. Like you will see in our coming modules, we'll see what SOAP UI Pro have and what open source is missing, and those features when I am talking I'll do those on Pro version. Okay, so you have here a document also regarding what are the SOAP UI comparison, like what is the difference between UI so open source version and Pro version, and what additional features that Pro version supports, and how it can make your testing easy. Okay, so you can find everything here, and this is comes the description what is SOAP UI. Okay, so for the basic, right, okay, the basic word as SOAP UI in the sense it is an web services testing tool. Okay, so this is used to test the web services. So that's what SOAP UI intended. But apart from web services, we have additional features also, like you can test database connections, and you can also perform security testing with the help of SOAP UI, and you can also do performance testing also. You have here load testing, and you can simulate the multiple users, and you can also perform performance testing with the help of SOAP UI. Okay, basically it supports the web services testing. Okay, the people go for SOAP UI for API level testing. API in the sense one component or one interface. So as you know now, what is the difference between web service and API? So if you are not clear, or if you are not familiar what the web service is, please go back and watch my module 1, 2, 3, like first 3 training videos. They are available for free, or if you are a premium member you will have access directly to it. Go to my site soapui.trainingonline.com for the free videos, or for introduction about web services and what is a web service and what are its functionalities, and okay, get the basics right and come back to this module to know about how SOAP UI tests your web services. Right, So here you will get this is an official documentation. So we will, if there are any new updates have been done, they will update here so that we can learn and you can apply in your application. Okay, and so let's go back to the home page and download SoapUI open source version. If you want to know what are the steps features present in the licensed version compared to open source, you can have a special link, I think here, some reasons to go pro. Okay, here you can see 12 reasons why you need to go pro. There are some 12 functionalities which are not present in open source but present in pro version. In our training session we will cover all these 12 reasons. Like in pro version I'll be showing you all these 12 functionalities, so how we can perform. Okay, all these are present in our training session, and I'll take all these features in pro version, right? So that doesn't mean that open source version is not up to mark. It is as well as robust compared to pro, but with pro version you have direct interface like GUI, you can access directly with less coding. But whereas with SoapUI open source version you need to perform some coding. Okay, in our session we'll discuss both open source and pro version simultaneously. For example, one functionality I'll take in open source and other functionality I'll take in pro version to make you familiarize with the both versions. And also if something is specific to SoapUI Pro, I'll mention before I take the topic by telling that this particular functionality is specific to pro and this is not present in the open source. So I'll let you know before I take the topic. So that's what. So let's start with the open source version. We'll try to download it and we'll see how to create a basic project on our open source version. Okay, so here are the tabs available to you if you want to go with open source. So I suggest you to start with open source, get hands-on for 1 month, learn the basics right, complete all the basics, and then go for pro and explore for additional features which open source is missing. Okay, if you start with pro, you can download for 14 days trial. See that, download 14 days you have here. These all are the products by Smart Bear, guys. See, you can download free trial for 14 days. So if you start your learning with directly pro version, you will spend your 14 days in making your basics right, and you will not be able to familiarize the advanced concepts which pro possess. But whereas that's what I am suggesting you, start with open source and get your basics right, and then go for a pro and explore the additional functionalities. Fine. So yeah, now based upon your Windows or your OS, select that particular and download this. Okay, so one .exe file will be downloaded, as I have already in my machine, so I'm not showing you. Okay, so right, once you download, right, you will get a file like this. You extract the zip format, you will get it in zip format, extract it, you will find a folder like this. So when I am taking this session, I have 4.5.1 version. So you will be prompted with these folders. In this, go to the bin folder and select this .exe file. Okay, you have your .exe file in the bin folder. So extract it and directly go to the bin folder and select this. First a command prompt will open and followed by your open source version. So as I have already opened it, let me close this. Right, so you will be prompted like this. This is the tool of open source version, and yeah, now let's start with a creation of basic project, and let's see how it works. So before that, I'll be taking one web service from net, and I'll try to use that web service to start with a basic functionality. So I'll choose the calculator web service, and this is easy and pretty straightforward. Okay, just give calculator web service in Google. That will make you to launch to this page. Okay, and I have clearly explained you about WSDL file, that is a WSDL file, web services description language, in my video 2, second video of first module. If you are not watched that video, please watch that second video from soapuitrainingonline.com, and that you have to you need to have some basics before you test your web services. Okay, so first 3 modules of I dedicated to completely introduction about web services and its functionalities, architecture. So if you are clear with those you are able to understand what I am trying to tell here, but still I'll try my level best to explain you, though you are not familiar with that sessions, right? So web service calculate, someone some guys has made a calculator web service, and they have hosted it on internet, and they have said this is our web services description language. Okay, nothing but WSDL. So we'll spell it as WSDL file. So it's up to you how you spell. So this is the service description. That means the name itself says that for our web service this is the description. That means what are the operations are present. And now in this web service we have 4 operations like add, divide, multiply and subtract. You can invoke any operation from this web service out of these 4. Okay, so now they have exposed directly. So these are the 4 operations are present in my web service, right? But some kind of web service they will not expose those. Okay, you need to understand those with the help of this WSDL file. Okay, you should be able to manipulate and decode this WSDL file, and should come out a conclusion that what all operations are present and what are the operations I can use. For example, you need to multiply some number, you can call the multiply operation in this web services. Okay, for that first of all you need to know what operations this calculator supports. So these guys has exposed this, but some web services will not show that. You have to dig into your WSDL file and you need to know what are the things present. So but if you are using SOAP UI tool, SOAP UI searches for you. Though you didn't expose them here, SOAP UI tool will bring out all the operations which this web service supports directly here. Okay, so what you need to do is you just simply import this WSDL path into your SOAP UI, so that SOAP UI does the job of you by interpreting this all the web service language, and it will come out with a kind of information that like these are the operations present and this is the request. Send these parameters to the calculator web service to get the result. Okay, for example, now add is the operation. Okay, so click on this. So these people have exposed even the parameters which need to be passed to the add operation to perform at response side. Okay, so to invoke this operation you need to provide 2 parameters, so that add method will be performed on these 2 and you will receive the output. Okay, so these guys have exposed this, like parameters are these a comma b, but in practical developer may not provide you the what are the parameters that you need to be passed. Okay, and for example even these people have not exposed that the parameter which you are going to pass, is it integer or a string. Okay, so they didn't pass that information. You need to go through the WSDL file and understand that what are the type I need to pass. For example, see here, for A it passes a string, for B it passes a string. So if you want to know about this WSDL file, how to read this, so please watch my second video of module 1, which describes about this WSDL file. Okay, but you need not to worry about this interpreting. SOAP UI does that work. Now I'll show you how the SOAP UI brings out operations present in the web service and what are the parameters that need to be passed. Everything it will provide us by simply importing this WSDL file URL into our SOAP UI project. Okay, now let's see practically how the things work now. Okay, just be with me, you will get the things what I am trying to explain. But again, once again, I'm remembering, if you are not clear with the WSDL file and what is web service and where exactly the usage of this comes in practical, please watch my first 3 modules, introductory modules, which will make you the basics right, and you can come back to this module. So soapUItrainingonline.com is the site where you can go and check out for the free videos. Right, let's start with a new project and select the file. You will be prompted for new SOAP UI project. Okay, so description says that creates a new SOAP UI project in this workspace, right? So yeah, you can give that introduction, give the project name of something, right? And second field, see that WSDL file, initial WSDL file, it is asking us. You may or may not give this, okay, but right now we have WSDL file. So once you provide this WSDL file here, okay, when you click on OK, automatically SOAP UI goes to this particular URL in the internet and it will interpret all this web service, and it will come out by telling us what are the operations present in this web service, and for each operation it will also gives us parameters and along with SOAP request. I told you right in module 1 that to talk with the web service, okay, to send, now for example I need to invoke this add method in calculator web service. You need to send a SOAP based XML format message. Okay, SOAP protocol you need to use to send a message to the calculator web service. Okay, so manually that SOAP based message you need to write. Watch my module 3, I explained how the SOAP based message looks like. Okay, so it is some not difficult, but it's a headache creating every time a SOAP based message so that you can send it to the calculator web service for invoking add operation. But SOAP UI tool also gives us the SOAP based message which you need to send to the add operation or anything. For all the operations it will dynamically generate SOAP based message and it will give us. So all this work does by our SOAP UI by just simply importing this WSDL file. Okay, by this just copied this and I pasted now, and see the magic now. What happens after clicking on OK? It is interpreting that XM WSDL file. Yes, now look at the output. Totally 2 types of bindings are there, as I told you in the previous class, SOAP and SOAP 1.2 binding, as we are interested in this only, right? So now by totally 4 operations are present in this calculator web service. You can come to basic conclusion, okay, because it has interpreted this web service description language and it has given us output. Right, now open this add operation. See, this is the request. That means the message, the request, SOAP request message which you need to send to the web service to invoke add operation has been ready-madely done by SOAP UI. And if you double click that, and this is the message. You need to send a message in this format so that web service understands. as no, we discussed, right? Web service communication happens with the SOAP based protocol. You need to follow SOAP based protocol to talk with the web service, right? So this is the format of SOAP based. SOAP UI tool generates SOAP based message for us. Okay, you need not start from basics like SOAP, envelope, header, body, and okay. So if you want to know about this, you can go back and watch my module 3 for SOAP UI structure. Okay, watch that. So okay, if you are not familiar with how the SOAP message has been created, so if you are using SOAP UI tool, so that will make you the ready-made one. So it's not necessary actually to learn how to make the SOAP structure. For interview kind of purpose, you may go ahead and dig into that to learn about message format, but this will give us in pre-built. Okay, so I have also told that this will also prompt for us with parameters, right? So question mark, you can see, right? This is the parameters which you need to pass to the add method to invoke. Okay, you need to send the SOAP message with these two parameters to the add method, so that that method will be invoked, and in the return you will get the response with the output which you can see in this pane. This is the request pane which you are sending SOAP based message with the parameters. So here you want to tell that add, I want to add 3 plus 5, fine. So you are sending SOAP based message with these parameters as a request. Okay, and where you are sending this request to this endpoint. Okay, why you are choosing this as an endpoint? Because this is the point where web service is hosted. Okay, so you can see that if I open the site, you can see that HTML to XML calculator version calculator.asmx. okay, this is the place where your web service lies. Okay, now you need to send this request, so based request with the parameters to this web service. Okay, when this web service receives this so based XML, it will have some tag like this add. Okay, by seeing that it will understand that yes, this SOAP based message is related to add method. Okay, and it will take the parameters and it will execute this add method, and it will give the response as an output, and that you can see in this pane, response pane. Okay, so now to run this, to send this request, you need to click on this link, submit request to the specified endpoint URL. Endpoint URL is this, because this is the place where your web service lies, right? Now submit this. Okay, it's loading. Here you can see process is going, and yes, you got the output now, and you can watch the output as the result is 8. This is the response. This is the response you got from add method. You can see the tag here, add response. So add method interpreted your parameters, so based a message, and it executed, and finally it sent us the response in this format. So by this you can come to conclusion that yes, add operation in calculator web service is working as per expected. This is kind of testing. Okay, you have tested add operation in calculator web service, right? In calculator totally there are 4 web services, 4 operations. Okay, your duty is to test whether adding is happening properly or not. Okay, now you are sending some information to add method to invoke and to interpret your request. So you have sent this URL where web service is live, and when you send this, it will see that this add tag, and it will transfer that to add method, and add method will execute by taking these parameters, and it will give the response, add response. Okay, so this is how end request, and for your request this is the response. And from next classes you will write test cases like validating, keeping checkpoints whether you are getting proper result or not. Okay, in this class I'm not going to show how is functional testing, like how you keep checkpoints, how you keep validations, whether you are getting proper output or not. I'm not talking about that. I'm just sending the request and getting the response. So by seeing the response you need to validate. Okay, now you are seeing 3 plus 5 equals to 8 and you say script is passed. This is manual. The what you have done now is a manual testing. So you need to write, keep some validations, assertions. So without seeing, by sending randomly some values, by getting some output, SOAP UI should tell that whether the script is passed or not, you are getting proper output or not. For that you need to keep validations and lot of functionalities. You can do it. That's what our session covers, all the topics. Okay, so in this session I'm just showing you about what is the web service and how can you bring that web service into the SOAP UI project. Okay, and these are the, we just added WSDL file, or without adding just click on OK and right click and add double. Here also you can give. Okay, just create a project without giving and right click and provide it. Once you provide the location, it will go to that particular location and reads entire WSDL file and interprets it and come up with the yes, these are the operations present in your calculator web service. So it also gives us request a SOAP based format. Now for example, see this multiply one. Okay, this is a multiply window. This is multiply SOAP based request. You can see multiply here. Now 3 into 5. So when I send this request, it will reach us the endpoint and it will verify what is that action item. Here multiply is the action item. So it will invoke multiply operation, it will execute, and multiply will send the response for you in this pane. 3 5 is 15. Okay, it's interpreting. You can see down here. Yes, you got 15. So it's working as per expected. So in this way you can invoke the operations present in a web service directly from SOAP UI tool by just passing the parameters in the place of question mark. Don't worry about how to build an SOAP based format. Don't worry about how to know about what are the operations present in that web service, and don't worry about endpoint. Everything SOAP UI takes care. Your work is just to pass the parameters which you need to multiply. That's it, and you will get the response. Remaining work SOAP UI takes care. Okay, that's what the beauty of this tool. Okay, this is an open source. Now what I am telling is open source. It's a freeware you can use for unlimited, and as I told you, pro version is an enhancement to open source. It has some additional features which makes your testing more robust in a framework level, but that doesn't mean that open source is not up to mark. It is also very good, but with a kind of coding you can achieve the SOAP UI pro properties in open source also. Let's discuss both. In our session I will cover both UI SOAP open source and pro version, and I will discuss all the features which are specific to SOAP UI Pro also. So this is the request pane and this is the response pane, and you can see two tabs present here, and this is XML format. There is other tab called raw. This raw tab gives us information again. I'll show the response raw, and here XML raw. You can see HTTP status. Okay, there are some status for HTTP. If it is 200, then the method is executed successfully. You can see that okay in the output. Okay, date at what is executed, some information related to system specific like cache control, content length, raw details. Okay, and you can see the raw status method to know whether you got proper output or not. For example 3, I'll give some character here, so definitely it should return fault. Okay, so you got some wrong message, some SOAP sender and all. Go to the raw and you can see 500 error code is changed, that is internal server error, whereas before you got 200, that is okay. 200 stands for success, and remaining there are some, you can go to the Google and check for HTTP status codes which stands for what, but in raw XML you can see some error has occurred here, and you can debug that. But whereas in SoapUI Pro version you will get with additional tabs also. I will call form. There is a tab called form which comes with SoapUI Pro. So when I take that SoapUI Pro session, then I'll demonstrate what's the tab and how it works. Okay. So that's what about today's session. What we have done, we have taken from calculator web service, we have created a project, imported it, and we have successfully invoked the request, add and multiply. Just I request you to try this with subtract and divide, so that you will get a basic hands-on with SoapUI. Okay, so so that's what I want to tell in this class. Okay, thank you.